Yeah, I think it should be on my feed.
Okay, perfect. Hello, everybody. This is Alia Jamal, and this is our, I believe, month 4. This is the 4th conversation we are having, and our goal is to talk about love. Our goal is to talk about unity and divine oneness, and how we all are um, tied together with that thread, whether we like it or we don't like it, we realize it or not realize it. So today, that is another conversation we'll be having. And Nefrit, you can go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Nefrit. I am an advocate for eating disorders, recovery, and late identified autism, and for a proponent for, I call it the way of love and unity.
So I forgot to start the recording. Let
Okay.
me hit record, and then you start with your introduction.
Okay.
Recording in progress.
So, if we, can I share about our plans, our future plans, and why we're recording this?
Sure.
So, Alia and
let's go ahead.
Yeah, Alia and I were talking about kind of foraying into the world of podcasting with our monthly love talks, so we can bring in more people into our community and expand the audience and give an opportunity for more people to join us into this wonderful journey in unity and love amongst all people and all sentient beings. So we're excited. So we're going to start recording our sessions, and we're going to post it as a podcast soon, as soon as it's ready.
And do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself again, just for the sake of recording?
Sure. So my name is Nefrit. I'm an advocate for eating disorders, recovery, and for late identified autism. And I'm a proponent for, I call it the way of love and unity amongst all people. And I'm hoping to inspire a movement in the world towards peace, unity, and by following the principles of love. And and microphone goes to you, Alia.
Thank you so much. So, hello everybody. For those of you who don't know me, here's my introduction. My name is Alia, the love coach. I teach unconditional self-love. My core mission in this world is to help people activate their heart, heal their heart, open their heart, and live from a place of an open heart, truly, energetically, not just figuratively. A lot of us say, I have an open heart, but most of us have a very blocked back heart. That's why we feel it's okay to hate each other, it's okay to judge each other, or it's okay to be afraid of each other. The truth of our existence is, whether we like it or not, we all are one. We come from one soul. The illusion that we are in different bodies is the illusion of the physical senses. And once the soul comes out, we all realize, oops, we were all one all along. And why did I keep hating everybody around me? And my mission is to help a person heal their inside so they can heal the environment around them. And me and Nefrit, we met maybe in the beginning of last year, randomly on Facebook. We started, we just added each other, don't know where it started, but we started talking. And at that time, there was a lot of, we live in a chaotic world. So there was, some specific chaos going on at that time. And we had our own conversation, our private conversations over WhatsApp, and we realized we both have come to a same conclusion, that there's only one truth, and that is love. And then we started talking about that at some point we want to bring these conversations to the world. Whatever we were talking in private, we can bring it out, and maybe other people can join those conversations, because we are not separated. Whatever you're thinking, most likely I'm thinking that same thing. So when we come together, we're like, oh, we both are thinking the same thing. Walls can come down, and we can see in each other more of our own reflection. that is when the separation starts to disappear. So that kind of started our Facebook conversations, and now we have decided we'll be recording them, our monthly conversations, and we'll be putting them in a podcast. And I would just put it out there. Starting these conversations, I got a lot of heat from my Muslim community. And that is exactly what I want to heal in this world. Why can we please stop seeing each other as separate? But it can only happen when I can do that within me. If I haven't done that within me, I'll see my friend here and I'll be like, oh, you're separate than me, you're different than me. And, there's so many differences among us. But once we heal the separation that exists within us, we can heal ourselves, our home, our community, our country, and eventually we can heal the whole world. And we both are moms, so we are very passionate about what kind of world we are leaving behind for our kids, what kind of seeds we can put out for our kids to reap from them and enjoy maybe a little bit more loving world than we are in right now.
Absolutely. And, and I forgot to mention, I come from Israel, and my background is Jewish. And I think that's the main point in the beginning when Alia and I were talking. Alia is from Muslim background, Muslim faith, and I'm from a different background. And my thought was, Alia, we need to bring this to the world. There's so much division, and there's so much hatred, and lack of trust, and violence, and resentment, and we need to show the world that there's a different way. We can be different, and we can live, not just coexist. We can live in unity, as like Alia said, as facets of a one. And so we both have the same mission in mind, and our heart is aligned on the same mission to bring this message to the world, and kind of bring more people into this world with us, and help the world, hopefully inspire a movement in the world towards unity. Yeah, and Alia, you want to...
Sure, I'll introduce today's topic.
Yeah.
And today we both usually take topics from whatever is going on either in our immediate world or whatever we are seeing around us. And we are, having this conversation on January 27, 2025. There are very specific chaos going on in our home country at the moment, USA. And I like this morning, I logged into my Facebook and I just saw a few things, and I was like, how can someone stay at the frequency of love, unity, and oneness when there's so much chaos going on, especially if you are coming from an immigrant community? Like I come from an immigrant community. My whole family immigrated here. Our kids are going to be the first generation. So even seeing someone else going through something like that, it just makes your stomach clench a little bit. And in that moment, I asked myself, how can I vibrate at the frequency of love? How can I think about, people who have maybe voted for this to be in fruition right now? How can I look at oneness right now? So I kind of got tested a little bit myself, having my emotions all stirred up. And so that is the topic we wanted to have. And I know Nefrit has an insight. She told me before we started this, she has an insight to that. But I'll quickly share how I came to my center within 2 minutes this morning. Whatever happens around us, it's happening for us. It's unfolding into something beautiful. So let's say someone fired me from work. At the surface level, it will feel like, oh, that person did wrong to me. Now I don't have any money to pay my bills. But at the bigger, better level, the bird eye view, that person did me a favor. Now I have the opportunity to attract something even better. So if you're going through similar emotions right now and you're like, how can someone, vote like this? How can this happen? How can we end up after 40 years at the exact same spot? Because a lot of us are thinking that. It it is going to bring the best out of us. Because that's all it does. Someone who does not agree with your opinion is only bringing out the best in you. You can, again, as me and Nefrit talk about it, in this moment, you can either choose at the vibration of love, which is harmony, which is oneness, which is you're not separate from me. We both are on the same track, even though it feels like you're going on the other side than me. You're going in the opposite direction. That is just an illusion. Or we can get stuck in more separation. So this is a question I ask myself, and I'll invite you to ask this question to you too. Are you going to add to the separation, or are you going to be willing to add to more love and oneness? And I'll hand it over to my friend here.
Yeah.
She'll share her insight.
Thank you for this, Alia. It's funny. It's like exactly what I was going to share. For me, I came to realize in my spiritual journey when I was recovering from my eating disorder, and I still am, and I think I'm always going to be in recovery. But throughout my journey, I came to understand that there is a very, very important component of trust. And when I say trust, I mean, you and I believe in that frequency of love. And I see it, that this world was created by love, and I call it a love consciousness. It's a consciousness that created this world. And I feel like that we are kind of shards of part of this consciousness. We're kind of a DNA of this consciousness here in this earthly experience. And we have a lot of power. We have free will, and we have a lot of power to create change. And it is sort of our essence. The purpose of our essence is to contribute to the expansion of love. And in that way, we are, we're not alone in this earthly experience. We're co-authors of the story of life. And the component of trust, there's something kind of, I call it the Wizard of Oz, that consciousness of love. There's this Wizard of Oz that sits behind the curtain, and we don't see it. There is so much that we're not privy to, so much knowledge and details and things that we're not aware of, at least not now in our current developmental stage. But there's something else, a greater force that kind of aligns things. There's kind of moves all the cogs and the gears and spins and pulls all the levers that we're not in charge of. And we have to trust that force, that everything that is happening for the highest good, individually, for yourself and for the world. And I constantly see it. We have a very stringent definition of what is bad and good. Thinking like this is bad, acting like this is bad, and this is good. But when you look at events and how they unfold, sometimes you can't deny that things that we would otherwise call bad were actually contributing to something that was eventually significantly in our favor. And so, we need to sort of broaden our perspectives, and the things that were happening. If you're talking, I'm a part of a community that was, you're talking about immigrant community, and I'm surrounded with people who are more immersed in like gender differences, and I myself don't see myself as a specific gender. I don't feel female. In my experience, I don't experience the world through a female experience, not a male experience. I just don't feel human. It's very hard to explain it, and it's not causing me any confusion or any problems. It's just the way my experience in the world. But I see that a lot of, actually, there was good also that already happened and is happening right now out of out of the. And I like to see myself looking beyond politics, but my point is that with every bad act, there's also good that comes with it. And I think we need to see beyond the judgment and trust in that force that aligns, the Wizard of Oz, that aligns the things for us. And to be patient and to keep doing your work as light in this universe. And to know and to trust that eventually things are going to show their true meaning. And there's already good that happened that came out of that. If it's specifically in the Middle East, there's a ceasefire between the two nations right now that I'm very, very hopeful that would lead to the end of war and to peace. And that is a direct result of that, and of other things as well, but mainly from that. So that's one good thing that is actually happening right now. And the other things that are right now kind of in a, descent, I feel will come together and come into the right place eventually, especially if we all keep on kind of towards that light working together. So, yeah.
That is true. And it's very easy when there's so much chaos going on, it's very easy to forget how important each and every one of us, and that is why I love to talk about the consciousness of love. As one person activates to that level, they are impacting many people in their immediate radius. So if I am doing this work and I am activating a higher level of consciousness within me, my whole neighborhood is benefiting from that. And that is what our aim is, or our goal is, to do that, to bring more people into this awareness that they can let go of hate or the illusion of separation, and that can create a domino effect on a global level. And one thing I wanted to share as you were talking came to my mind. When we look at chaos, it's a very easy, and no matter what kind of chaos it is, whether it's personal or it's happening around us,
Sure.
It's very easy to get sucked into darkness. And there's this one principle, I think I have known it at the intuitive level, but when I learned it as a specific principle, it became easier to navigate difficult time. That wherever there's light, there's darkness.
Sure.
Wherever there's darkness, there's light. So now when a challenge comes in my life, I know that there must be light in it. That's why it's here. And if I see somebody doing so good and they're this, or it's about me, I know there's that element of things can go off. So I'm going to have my expectations according to that, because sometimes when we hold someone in such a high esteem, and then they say something or do something, or like, oh my God, how this person can do that. So that creates some margin for other person, they are allowed to make so-called mistakes, what we call mistakes, because light and darkness, they coexist. Sometimes light is forward facing and the darkness is behind it. Sometimes darkness is forward facing and light is behind it. And as we are going through this transition period or expansion or the time of growth and change, if we can just focus on, there is light here. There's definitely good coming out of here.
Sure.
And who can I be right now to contribute to more love, unity, divine oneness? It could be as simple as today maybe, just bake a bunch of goods and give it to your neighbors. That act of sharing can generate so much light. And right now, that is what our world needs. It needs more light. One of the other thing I have seen, a lot of people have posted some. I have a lot of friends who are immigration lawyers, so my news feed is full of that, amazing tips, and I'm like, wow, this is really people coming together, helping, another fellow human.
Sure.
And that is a lot of light that's coming out of it. When one person takes the time to create a post on their Facebook page that is focused on giving tips or helping people in whatever shape or form, that is light being created.
Sure.
generated in that moment, and then someone shares it, like I shared someone's post today, that is more light being created. So we are learning to depend on each other, which is beautiful, because over time we did become very isolated species.
Sure.
We live in communities, we live in, we like to call it in North Jersey and New York City area concrete jungle. We live in those, but we are completely disconnected, and now we are kind of being forced to reconnect, see each other's humanity, and that's a lot of light being generated.
Sure. Yeah, this is how I absolutely, I see it as there's just so much division between, there's people, and then this is my country, this is your country, this is my color, my people. But underneath it all, the undertow, the spins under all this surfaces, it's just we're all united. I mean, there's no color, there's no vestige, like the externals. It's just external. It's just an envelope, and there's no countries. Earth, nature belongs to no one and to everyone. There's no people. There's no ethnicities. We're just all souls. Part of a light of love consciousness. And as you were talking before, I was thinking what I've been doing in my practice. I realized, as humans, we have the tendency, there is a big pull to get sucked into, lower vibrational emotions like hatred and anger. It's very tempting. It's kind of like a release, a valve, a pressure release valve. When somebody's doing something that angers you, and you have all the justification in the world, you just want to get angry at them. You just want to it feels like a release, but it's really a very short term.
It's a form of control in the moment. That's
all. It's very momentary, and it gives you a relief, very momentary relief. But in the grand scheme of things, this is very hurtful. And so I kind of started to pay attention to my insides and to my emotions and where my thoughts are going. And I know that I want what I want to bring into this world, irregardless of provocations, external provocations. And I want to bring light. I want to be love. So when somebody does something that is, that would cause me anger, I'm able to, and we talked about it in previous talks, I'm practicing that pause moment, and instead of getting angry at them, because this is, and you're talking about baking goods and giving it to your neighbor, and it's amazing. There's so many ways to spread the light into the world, but it's even your thoughts and your intentions that you put out into this world that's an act of light, and that adds to the unity. So when I'm kind of getting pulled, enticed to follow anger, it's not like I'm always able to do it, because I'm still also learning and developing, but I'm trying to pause. And to that person that elicited that emotion in me, I'm actually sending them love, because I want to be loved. It has nothing to do with what they do, with who they are. I harbor no hatred or animosity towards anybody, because I know that people are, they do the best that they can, and those who are acting in violence, they just don't know any better. So in order to help them, and in order to help myself and the world, the best thing that I can do is actually send them that power of love, to help them, remind them who they are. And that's the power of intention. And that's what I'm practicing, because it makes me feel good. It's about who I want to be, and I want to be love. So when you're called to kind of like get angry and want to go and bring down buildings, and if you're able for a moment to say, you know what, that's okay, I'm feeling these things, I'm validating it, but what do I want to be for this world? What do I bring to it? And when you do the opposite and you send out that love, boy, that makes you feel good. It feels like the right thing to do.
Yeah.
So
it also makes you feel lighter.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I have observed is Um, Fear comes from lack. When I feel like there's not enough. So now I need to fight for the land, I need to fight for the food, I need to fight for it, I need to fight for my identity. Those are all lack. And lack is that lower consciousness where we get stuck. And if we slowly start introducing ourselves to the possibility of abundance in our thought, abundance in our actions, we do start to see things in a different way. And
that's trust. That goes back to the component of trust, I think, that ties into that.
Yeah. There was another point I wanted to make, and it has completely left my field of consciousness for the moment. We are coming to kind of like, we are going to be wrapping it up here in a few minutes. Is there something else, Nefrit, you'd like to share while I think about what I was going to say?
Yeah, I mean, I can, again, it goes back to that point of trust and tying it back to know that there is enough and there is abundance, and that we're all being taken care of by that greater consciousness of love, and to trust that everything is happening towards our highest goods. And I think this is when there's all this chaos, to me, to trust, and for a moment to kind of to let go of that control of like, this needs to be this way and this needs to be that way, and the fear and like what's going to happen, it's all crashing down. Hang on a second, I'm not alone in this. I'm not writing the story alone. We're writing it all together, and there is something that's kind of taking care of all of us. And I want to share a quick story about a personal, and it happens all the time, these kind of examples, but a personal story. When I grew up in Israel, when I was about 6 or 7, I had a dog that lived down the street. Her name was Sophia, and I loved her dearly. And she would come and find me. She was all fur and wag and tail wagging, and she was just a ball of cuteness and heart, and I loved her. And one day she got hit by a car, and she died, and I was just completely heartbroken. And so when I was sick one day, my parents brought me a basket with a little pup in it, and there was a blanket in the basket, and underneath it was just a very mangy dog and a pup, a 3-month-old pup. And she became my best friend, and I called her Nati. And we became like, buddies, and she was my furry baby. And when I came to the United States, she was very old and sick, and I didn't intend on staying here in the United States. I intended to just come here and work for 3 months in a summer camp and go back home to Israel. But my parents expatriated here during that time, and I stayed with them. And so my dog stayed behind. I never got to say goodbye to her, to Nati. And that broke my heart because she was sick. They couldn't transfer her on the airplane. And they left her with my aunt, whom I loved dearly, who was taking care of my uncle, whom I also loved very much. He was a very tacit person, very quiet, very benevolent, kind, patient person. I loved him very much, and he had a stroke before I left Israel. And so he was nothing like my uncle before I left. So my dog was left with my aunt, who took care of my uncle, who was a Holocaust survivor. And then my uncle passed away, and my dog passed away, and I just was left with a big hole in my heart. How could I have left her? I never got to say goodbye to her. And it was just something, a wound that never healed in my heart. And one day my aunt, before she passed away, told me that what helped her through caring for my uncle and going through that devastating time with my uncle was passing and lost all shadow of humanity, really, with the stroke, was my dog, Nati. And at that moment, when she told me, and that was after years, when she told me that this is what my dog did, all the sorrow and all the grief and all the heaviness just lifted off, and the wound in my heart healed, because I understood that there was a reason for why she was left behind. And that was her purpose, to help my aunt through this time. and it just made sense. So what I'm saying is sometimes we just don't know. We don't know the reason for why things happen as they do, but we need to trust that the end goal is always to our best interest at the end.
Thank you so much for sharing that beautiful story. And the point that I was going to share, and it might not be for everyone, but this is what completely shifted my way of relating with humans. So in 2023, that was my year of study, like start delving into past life experiences, which is a whole topic. We can't really talk about it. But, when I just played with the idea and I had my own session, I realized how big my soul is. My brain can never comprehend that. My logical mind can never comprehend that. And also the concept of that soul has come in different bodies.
Sure.
And this is just the body it is in now. It could have been like, in a different ethnicity, different religion, and here we are, we get so attached to like, I am this, and this is how I look, and this look is better, and that look is not better. When we realize how expansive we are, and how one we are, it just completely shifted my view of the world, how I interact with other human. I think after that experience, now I can see a person and I can really feel myself in them. Like I can really see my image in them, because who knows, maybe the soul that is temporarily in this body has been in a body who looked like that.
Sure.
And whether it's a man, whether it's a woman, whether it's, somebody who's so noble, whether it's somebody who's like, a criminal, whatever divides us, it just completely shifted my way of how I interact with other humans.
Sure.
Because I realize at a soul level, we are too big that our mind can ever comprehend. So if something comes up, I always question. So for those of you who are ready for this concept, or, this is something that appeals to you, sit with this concept. Maybe you can use this to get over the hump of like, no, I am separate from everybody else. We are not. If this is not your cup of tea, you don't have to drink it. You can, just let this one go. And we'll just stay focused on the beautiful story that Nefrit shared here with us. And with that, we are coming to the end of our time. We will continue our conversations. We'll be back in February again.
End of February, the last Monday of February.
Last Monday of February, same time. And I'm going to share, my kind of takeaway from this conversation, and then Nefrit, you can share yours. Chaos never disappears. If we look at it from the start of humanity, it never disappears. But we can start interacting with our surrounding and with ourselves and with other people in a way that it becomes a safe haven and a peaceful space. So you get to choose how you want to send out your light into the world.
Sure, I'm 100% behind that sentiment. I think that's actually another topic that we can talk about, perhaps another conversation about why there is chaos and that it doesn't disappear. But just to surmise that, I know that there is a reason for why there is challenges and struggles and disintegration and chaos. There is a purpose to that. So again, from this conversation, I'm just kind of what helps me is, again, the trust to know that there is a greater reason, a bigger plan, and to trust and to accept, and then at the same in turn do my light work in this world. And that makes it all takes away the pressure of I need to solve everything, because there's a co-author. But what can I do? I can be love, and I can send my love in my thoughts, in my words, in my actions. I can be a point of love, and that gives me a sense of enables me to relax a little bit. Yeah.
That is so beautiful. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for being part of this conversation. Please share it with your friends. Please share it on your newsfeed. We both are going to make this a public, post, the more people who can listen to something that invites them to love and they choose to come to the frequency of love, the more we can heal our world. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next month. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Love to everybody.
Recording.